Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to my Thursday Q&A. Every Thursday, I make these videos where I answer your questions, so drop them in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them all next week. So as you can see, I'm back in the van, and it feels so nice. It was so good to be out of a house, or inside of a house, and away from my mold terrarium that was my van for a while, but it feels so good to be back home. Yeah, as you can see, it looks a lot bigger because it took out the insulation, right? It looks so much bigger. Anyway, let's get started on this. So the first question comes from Kelly K, and your question is: Have you visited any national parks or plan on checking out any as you head west? Yes, I've been to many. Too many to list. Grand Canyon, Death Valley, Yellowstone, lots and lots and lots and all the major ones, and just tons of them. Tim Expedites asks, what drew you to YouTube versus other social media avenues, and how did you start and get where you are today? I was drawn to YouTube. I started moto vlogging. I was watching a couple like Jake the Garden Snake and a couple other moto vloggers when I had my motorcycle and was doing that, and I thought it was really cool to share the experience. And I felt most alive when I was out riding around anyway, so I thought it'd be cool to share that experience, especially with other people. So that's how I got started. How did I get to where I am today? Just by pumping out content and learning SEO and being myself and trying to make videos that I would like to watch, and trying to share information that I wish I had been able to find in a way that I'm able to understand, because there's almost all the Van Dwelling specific videos I make. There's other videos about that, but they don't say it in a way that I can easily understand, because everybody learns different ways, and some people's ways of relaying information clicks easier with different people. So I thought that I could possibly help people by doing it, and apparently I have, so that's a really cool thing. And yeah, just being myself and being consistent. I've got a lot of videos out now, so yeah. Pokerface says, what's the most common question you get in the Q&A? Oh, I was going to move that one to last so I could figure it out on the way. That's kind of hard to say. I think one of them might be, and I'm working on a lot of things on my website right now. My website is going to be like just as important as the channel coming up here pretty soon. But I'm working on a frequently asked questions thing on that, and I've been trying to figure out what the answer to this is, and it seems like the most frequently asked question is, how did your family react? Or yeah, I think it's, how did your family react when you told them you were gonna live in a van, which is actually in this Q&A. Gypsy Free says, what's your sun sign? Virgo. Moon sign is Aries. Static Camper Van says, are you going to tell the story behind the woman punching you? And there was another person who asked this question too. I talked about this last week. In New Orleans, this woman was punching me. So here's the story. I was chilling out with Corey and Roberto down in New Orleans, and this woman pulled up in an Astro van, and she was like, hey, van people, and she started hanging out with us, you know, kind of coming around, and she was this like extremely intense personality that was just, she was like the most intense person I've ever known. And she came around, hung out a few times, and it was like, okay, you're exhausting, but you're really interesting, so I want to like get to know you kind of, but you totally wear me out in like 5 minutes. But anyway, so eventually she came around and she was telling us about how people harassed her, and how men touch her inappropriately and harass her. And she started poking me, and I said, I don't like people touching me like that. Please don't do that. And I was very assertive, and it caught her off guard. And she started poking me more, and then she started hitting me. She started punching me, and she started punching me in the chest and the shoulders, and then she started punching me in the face, and I just stood up, and I was like, no, no. So that was that. She freaked out and started yelling at me for a couple minutes, and then eventually she left. But yeah, that's the story behind that one. I never saw her again. Apparently she doesn't like me because I stood up to her, wouldn't let her. The deal was that she was saying that she was trying to show me what it was like to be her, and I was like, well, I can empathize with you without you physically touching me in a way I don't like. I don't like people aggressively touching me, you know? So that's that. And your next question is, did you get your leak sorted? No, I'm working on that tomorrow. And do you think it might be coming from your roof vent? It's definitely not coming from my roof vent. Absolutely not. This thing is solid. Next question is from Sean, and he says, What was the reaction of your family and friends when you announced that you would be living in a van, traveling this great country, and pursuing your passion of photography? Well, first of all, I didn't know that I was passionate about photography until I got on the road. Um, Even though I always had like every time I saw someone with a DSLR, I was like, oh, that thing is so cool. I gotta learn that someday. And it was a someday. And then I got one, and I totally love it. I absolutely love photography. Anyway, my family's reaction was kind of, they have allowed me to be very independent and do whatever I want to do, and that is one great thing about my parents. They just let me do whatever I want, and it's always been good that way. So it wasn't here or there. It was just like, oh, okay, cool, kind of thing. Friends, they all thought it was really cool. I have a lot of free-spirited, really open-minded friends. I like to hang around people like that. Reese Schmidt says, have you ever planned to visit all 50 states? Absolutely, I still do, and I'm getting pretty close. I think I've got, oh no, what's the number? I think it's like 37 or something. No, it's higher than that. I don't know what my number is. I'm going to have to find out. Maybe I'll put a thing on my website that shows all the states I've been to. Or maybe I'll put one that like tracks like my whole like progress thing. I'd have to start over because I don't remember where I've been. Kate Jewel says, is there anything you miss about living in a house or an apartment? That's another one that I get frequently that I'm going to add to my frequently asked questions. Yes, temperature control all the time. Steady internet all the time. That's about it. Temperature and internet. Simon M says, how much money do you usually spend a week on groceries? I would have to like... See, some weeks I don't spend any. Some weeks I just eat the food I already have. Some weeks I only spend like maybe $30. Some weeks it's like up to 60. I really don't spend that much. I'm pretty thrifty with my shopping, and I do a lot of bulk, and I don't buy... I think the most expensive thing is buying fresh vegetables all the time. Those can get kind of spendy, but you can also get really good deals on stuff, so I keep my eye out on those. Next question is from Carlos Madrid. He says, still running the idea of my own channel of my journeys. Any tips or pointers? He's got he's doing the van thing too. So, any tips or pointers on a YouTube channel? Yes, stop thinking about it. Just do it, man. Get started now. You're going to make a million mistakes. You're going to mess up a million times. You're going to make videos that you look back on and say, oh my god, I can't believe I did that. Or this is the stupidest video on YouTube or something like that. Maybe not that bad. You shouldn't be that hard on yourself anyway, but my point is, like, I think I have like 120 videos or something like that. I don't know how many, but it's a lot. And I've just been very consistent and constantly making videos and constantly trying to improve them. And yeah, just build a community, make videos about things that you love or things that you feel are missing in the world that the world needs. Things that could help people or entertain people or make people happy or help people become better versions of themselves. I think that's the best I can do on that one. Word Up No Jesus says, I want to know if you have ever studied the Bible and if you give some time to the best Bible teacher I have found in 30 years. I have studied it a little bit, not too much. I'm not really big on religion. To me, God is something I like to experience, not something I like to read about other people's experiences with, if that makes sense. So I'm flattered and thank you very much for the offer, but I probably don't see myself making time for that. I'm extremely busy these days. I'm building an empire here, and yeah, probably not. Thank you very much though. I can't pronounce this. Minetianis Sepete or something like that. It says, what is it like to drive a van? Is it hard to do? Is it hard to take a bath the first time you take a bath? It's just like driving a normal car, I guess. I don't know. The Astro van, I think, is easier to drive than a full-size van because you've got less physical space, and it also drives like a small pickup. Like it's an S10 chassis, so it's like a small pickup chassis on it. Oh, my shoulder's killing me. The next question comes from David Hewitt. Says, do you accept Bitcoin donations? I don't know how I don't know much about Bitcoin. Someone else asked me about that recently. I really don't know much about it. And I don't. I'll have to look into that because that's really interesting. People keep bringing that up. It must be a important thing. Stratocat 225 says, "What are your thoughts on buying a pistol for yourself?" I have no interest in it. I have intuition. I stay out of situations where I would need one, and I've gotten my whole life so far without one. I don't see the need for it. Plus, there's a whole lot of laws and all kinds of crazy crap with like traveling state to state and stuff. I don't even want to deal with. Robert Phillips says, "I've seen you talking about that storm in Florida a few times, and have wondered if you have thought what it would be like if you were on the ocean in a sailboat." I have thought that. The very last one where it was like 60-mile-an-hour winds and rain just... and I was stuck inside. I was thinking about how terrifying it would be to be on a sailboat. But that was also like the first time I'd been in a storm like that, so I imagine after a few times I'd get used to it and it wouldn't be as bad. I hope so. I survived, so that's a plus. Yeah, I guess I'll have to get used to storms, because storms definitely happen at sea and just at dock. So Minority of Thought says, favorite zombie weapon? Chainsaw on a stick. That name I couldn't pronounce, the Manadas Pene or whatever, says, how old are you? 29. Eddie Dude says, hey man, I've unsuccessfully been trying to get my videos out there of my van dwelling. What are some things I can do to get more views like you are? Be consistent, make tour videos, and make videos that help people, not just vlogs. Vlogs, a lot of people find entertaining, and they want to see what it's like to live in a van, but the ones of like how to do something, how to insulate your van, how to install a roof liner, stuff like that are the ones those are the ones I get by far the most views for, and the tour videos. So make those. And make sure that you're spreading like information, like good information. Zach Pacer says, have you ever experimented with psychedelics, mushrooms, DMT, LSD, ayahuasca? If so, maybe share a trip report. Was it life-changing? I have tried a few of those when I was younger, mainly mushrooms, LSD, and DMT. I haven't tried ayahuasca. I sincerely doubt that I ever will, even given the opportunity to. Life-changing. Mushrooms got me to the next step a couple times. They led me to some really big realizations and helped me let go of some things and see certain belief structures from a different point of view, which enabled me to let them go and replace them. So, completely changing my life? No, meditation did that. But getting me to another level in my personal evolution, yeah, definitely. Coastal Empire, have you met your chick in person or just on the web? Just on the web for now. She's on her way, though. RR says, thanks for answering my last question, Bro Frog. I like that, Bro Frog. Who beside yourself is your favorite van dweller and why? I don't do favorites, and if I picked one person, it would mean all the other people are not my favorite, and I wouldn't want to make them feel bad. Nikki Myers says, started here, you don't feel well. Do you think it's the mold in the carpets? Yes, it was definitely the mold in the carpets, specifically the mold trapped under the carpets, because the carpets had a layer of rubber that kept all the water under there, and it was trapping. It was like a swamp under my carpet. It was terrible. Addison Eaton, oh, and the denim insulation held the water. It didn't seem like the fungi was growing on the denim insulation, but it was holding the water in there. Addison Eaton says, hey dude, thanks for the positive vibes you share. Do you ever wish you had a folding bike so that you could store in your van easier when you're out walking around and that you don't want to draw attention when parked? The bike on the roof is a terrible idea. I'm getting rid of that one way or another. As far as a folding bike, I really don't like them because I like to beat up my bikes and go off jumps and go fast and look cool and ride really fast, and folding bike doesn't do any of those things for me. So I'll probably get a hitch on the back or just get rid of the bike. Grunge Luggage Tour says, when you start to make a video, why don't you set a timer to go off at 19:30 so you know to wrap it up? I got one right here. Thanks, buddy. I've been trying to do that lately. I've forgotten the last couple times, but I did it this time. The genius. Gold. And I've got 2 minutes left. So I answered a question a few minutes ago, and I'm going to cut it out because I did not like the answer. So here we go again. The question is from... By the way, I am feeling much better. Definitely not 100%, but definitely much better. Oh, where is it? Oh, it's from Noah Hayworth? I think it's Hayworth. And your question is, I would like to know your opinion on love. I believe you need to achieve happiness in yourself to be able to give all your love to someone. I agree with you, and my natural tendency towards questions like this is to jump on the definitions and make sure our terms are defined and go like way down the rabbit hole and way overcomplicate things. The basic thing with this is that if you're not happy with who you are, then you have unmet subconscious needs or conscious needs, and you can only use other people. You can't fully just like accept them because you're needy. You need something. You need someone else to do something for you. And even though a lot of times it looks like love, it looks like something good, you're actually just like using the other person. The other person's probably using you because they're also attracted to someone who is needy in a way, in some way. So yeah, I think that if you're not if you don't love yourself, then you can't fully love another person. So yeah, I totally agree with you. And there's obviously way more to that. I could elaborate on that for hours, and I've got more to learn about that too. I'm definitely not an expert, but I have learned quite a bit about the subject. So I'm going to definitely agree with you. So thank you guys so much for watching. That wraps it up for today. Woo! Yeah, I gotta go. Love yourself! Woo!